Welcome to my YouTube channel. Hit the like button, share your thoughts, subscribe, and tap the bell icon. The Inheritance. The sky tore open over Nevada. A blinding streak of silver lit the early dawn like a second sun. The object, silent, seamless, and shaped like no known aircraft, hovered above the Mojave Desert for less than 30 seconds before vanishing. By the time the air rippled from its absence, 3 satellites had gone dark, and a covert tracking station outside Groom Lake was scrambling to reboot its systems. Ethan Vale didn't see the flash. He was too busy getting fired. "You're too smart to be this reckless," said his supervisor, sliding a sealed termination envelope across the desk. "Whatever game you're playing, we're done playing along. No one's funding space fantasies anymore." Vale. Ethan barely moved. His gaze was fixed on the envelope, his future compressed into a single, sterile packet. After 6 years in astrophysics, 3 at a minor space tech firm, and nearly a decade of ridicule for claiming he had once met an alien during a meteor shower in Montana, this was it. The final nail. He stood slowly, face unreadable. "You're making a mistake." His boss rolled his eyes. "No, Ethan, you made it a long time ago." The office door slammed behind him, and just like that, Ethan Vale, once called the human who thought he met an alien, was unemployed. But 23 minutes later, the universe threw him a curveball. He was halfway through a stale vending machine sandwich in the parking lot when his phone buzzed. No caller ID, just a single word: Calith. His heart stopped. The screen flickered. A blue glow erupted from the device and projected a flickering hologram 3 feet above his dashboard. The face that emerged was unmistakably alien, silver skin like mercury, eyes like twin galaxies, and markings etched across its high forehead. It was Calith, the same alien Ethan claimed had appeared to him 15 years ago during that meteor storm, his hallucination. They said, his lifelong lie. But this wasn't a dream. Ethan Vale, the hologram, spoke in perfect English, its voice melodic yet hollow. "I am Calith of the First Thought. By the time you see this, I will have passed into the quantum fold. I name you Ethan, my chosen heir." Ethan dropped his sandwich. "Within Earth's crust lies a vault. Coordinates are embedded in this message. In it, you will find my remaining legacy, and those I leave behind. You must protect them, guide them, and above all listen, for what comes next will test your species and your soul." Then the image froze and burst into static. Ethan stared at the empty air, his mind racing. No, this can't be real. But deep down, he knew. By sunset, he was in the desert, following the embedded coordinates. He arrived at a canyon that didn't exist on any map. The rocks were scorched. The air had an electric charge to it like before a thunderstorm, but unnatural. There was no vault in sight. He scanned the rocky floor, and after some hours of searching under the stars, found a tan, unassuming patch of stone. When he stepped on it, the ground hummed. A circle of ancient-looking metal rose from the dust. No buttons, no interface. Then it spoke. "Ethan Vale, identity confirmed. Access granted." The stone spiraled open silently, revealing a stairwell descending into blue light. He took a breath and stepped in, heart hammering. The chamber below was beautiful. Smooth metallic walls curved organically, glowing with soft pulses. It looked like a blend of technology and art. At the center, a large crystalline container stood upright, mist swirling inside. Ethan approached, breath fogging in the air. Then, with a hiss, the container unsealed. 2 women stepped out. They looked almost human. The first, tall and graceful, had pale violet skin and white gold hair that shimmered like starlight. Her eyes, an otherworldly blue, locked onto Ethan's with strange recognition. The second, slightly shorter but exuding fierce energy, had deeper amethyst-toned skin, raven black hair, and sharp, scanning eyes. They wore bodysuits stitched with alien symbols. Both of them moved fluidly, like they weren't waking from stasis, but stepping through a curtain. Then the violet-skinned woman smiled gently. "You are Ethan Vale," she said. He stepped back, heart pounding. "How do you know my name?" The darker one tilted her head, expression unreadable. "Because Calith told us. You're his chosen, his ... successor." "What does that mean?" The first woman stepped forward. "It means, we belong to you now." Silence filled the chamber. Ethan's thoughts spun like a cyclone. "You're saying Calith left you to me? What does that even mean? Who are you?" "We are sorry," and Narala said the first. "Calith as companions. And now, yours. But we don't have time for bonding, rituals or questions." "Why not?" Ethan asked, still reeling. Because suddenly, the walls pulsed red. A klaxon blared in a language Ethan somehow understood. "Foreign signal detected. Vault compromised. Tracking beacon active." Sorry's face paled. "They found us." Ethan froze. Who? Narala grabbed his arm. "Not who. What?" The floor trembled beneath them. Something was coming. The wives and the warning. The vault shook again, stronger this time. Dust trickled from the ceiling, and a low hum rippled through the alien walls like a warning pulse. Ethan stumbled backward, instinct warring with disbelief. "What is that sound?" "A proximity alert," Sorry answered, moving with urgency to a glowing console embedded in the wall. Her fingers hovered over it, no touch. Just gestures and alien symbols shifted into English. "Inbound vessel detected. Unregistered non-light signature. Estimated time to impact. 90 seconds. We're out of time," Narala snapped. Her voice sharp but focused. "We stay. We die." "Die from what?" Ethan shouted. "What is coming? Who's tracking us?" Sorry's voice softened but carried weight. "Not who. What?" Calith feared this might happen. If his death was not natural, then we're being hunted for what he left behind. Ethan glanced at the chamber, the shimmering consoles, the sealed pods, the strange architecture, and realized this place wasn't just a vault, it was a secret, one worth killing for. "Can this thing be shut down?" he asked, pointing at the console. Sorry shook her head. "Not anymore. As soon as you entered, it broadcast a key signature. They've been waiting." Narella already had a pack slung over her shoulder and handed a matching one to Ethan. "Move." They emerged into the night under stars so clear, it looked like the sky had been painted on with precision. The circular vault resealed silently behind them, disappearing into the sand as though it never existed. But in the distance, the air shimmered, a shape cut across the sky, triangular, black, silent, not like Calith's ship. This one looked predatory. Ethan's breath caught. "That's not one of ours. It's a Varn-class hunter drone," Narala said darkly. "They scavenge fallen tech across war-dead systems. If they're here, someone sold Calith's death report." The drone angled downward and began to descend. "Where's your ship?" Ethan asked. "We don't have one," Sorry said quickly. "We were never meant to leave the vault unless you came." "I don't have a ship either." "No, but you have a car," Narala said, already heading toward the ridge. Ethan blinked. "That rust bucket. It barely runs on pavement." Sorry gave a faint, amused smile. "Then we'd better hope your Earth gravity is as forgiving as Calith said." They ran. Ethan's old Jeep roared to life, just as a pulse of energy lit up the canyon behind them. The vault's location exploded in a silent eruption of blue light, the ground imploding inward like it had been vacuumed into another dimension. No smoke, no debris, just gone. "Go," Narella barked from the back seat. He didn't need telling twice. They tore down the dirt path, the wheels bouncing over uneven rock. Behind them, the drone hovered low, scanning the terrain. A second red beam shot downward, narrowly missing their tail. "What do they want?" Ethan shouted over the wind. "To erase us," Narala said grimly, "and take everything Calith left behind." Sorry leaned forward from the passenger seat. He knew this might happen. That's why he built redundancy into the inheritance. "We need to reach the next site." "Next site? There's a hidden relay bunker," she explained. "About 150 miles north." He called it the core of continuation. Ethan gritted his teeth. "Then I hope you both like road trips." They drove through the night. Somewhere around mile 30, the drone gave up the chase or vanished. But Ethan never lifted his foot from the gas. By dawn, they were in an abandoned ghost town just south of the Nevada-Utah border. A shell of cracked buildings, broken windows, and sun-bleached signs greeted them. They parked behind an old gas station and ducked inside. Ethan collapsed into a dusty booth, hands shaking. "Okay, I need answers now." Sorry sat calmly across from him, folding her hands. Narala stood by the window, watching the skies. "You said you were Calith's companions," Ethan said. "What does that mean, exactly? Were you his wives?" Sorry gave a soft nod. "In a sense, Calith was not of a species that mates as humans do, but he believed in symbiotic relationships, emotional and intellectual bonds. Narala and I were born of two species, ours and yours." Ethan's heart skipped. "Mine." Human DNA was part of our creation, Narala said. Calith believed Earth was not primitive, but unripe. He thought your species held potential no one else saw, and you were, designed, grown. We were cultivated, clarified, not as slaves, not as weapons, as bridges. Ethan exhaled. So when he said you belonged to me, nodded. He meant we were now bound to you by legacy law. Not in the romantic sense, less such bonds are chosen, but we are yours to protect, and you, ours. Narala finally turned. From the window, Calith knew someone would come for us. He died shielding the inheritance from them, and now they know you exist. Ethan rubbed his face. Why me? Because he trusted you, said gently. He met many humans, but only one who listened without fear. One who remembered. Ethan blinked. The meteor shower. He had told that story 100 times over the years. A bright light, a figure in the woods, a voice in his head. No one had believed him, not even himself. Sometimes, but it had been real. Activated a compact device on her wrist. Its surface shimmered, projecting a glowing map of the desert with a blinking blue marker. The core is still transmitting, she said. That's a good sign, but we won't be alone for long. Ethan nodded slowly, then looked between the two women. What happens when we get there? Narela's expression turned grim. We find out why Calith died, and whether Earth is the next target, added. Before Ethan could respond, his phone buzzed again. He checked it. No number. Just one message. You have something that doesn't belong to you. His blood ran cold. Then another message followed. Return them. ORB erased. The chase begins. The phone slipped from Ethan's hand and clattered to the gas station floor. Picked it up and stared at the message still glowing on the screen. You have something that doesn't belong to you. Return them. ORB erased. She said nothing, but her eyes narrowed, and her grip tightened until the screen cracked. That was them, wasn't it? Ethan asked, voice low. Didn't answer. Instead, she reached out to the broken phone, placed her palm on it, and activated a soft blue light from her wristband. The phone shut off completely dead, no trace of signal. They've tagged your device, she said. We have to assume they know where we are now, and who you are. I thought they didn't know me, Ethan muttered. I was just a footnote in Calith's story. Narala shook her head. You're not a footnote. You're the last line of his will. They didn't wait around. Ethan grabbed the bags. Narela led the way back to the jeep, scanning the skies again. Sari walked beside Ethan in silence. The moment they reached the edge of the town, Narela stopped cold. She raised a hand. Ethan looked up. A single shape hovered about half a mile above the desert, a matte black sphere, almost perfectly camouflaged against the morning sky. Surveillance orb, Narala whispered. Non-human, uncrewed, but lethal. Does it know we see it? Ethan asked. No, she said, but it knows where we are. It's tracking our heat signatures. Sari placed 2 fingers to her temple and closed her eyes. The air shimmered. Faintly, a soft pulse passed through Ethan's ears like a pop of pressure. There, she whispered. We've got 15 minutes. I sent a false trail southwest. Narala was already starting the jeep. Then let's not waste it. They hit the road hard. The sun burned across the empty highway as Ethan sped north through winding desert passes. Dust trailed behind them in long spirals. The alien map glowed on Sari's wrist, guiding them toward the core. They didn't speak for a while. Finally, Ethan broke the silence. Can someone please tell me what this core is, and why Calith hid it in the middle of nowhere? It's not just a bunker, Sari said. It's a bridge between 2 realities, a message, a warning, and a key to what? To what comes after, Narala replied. Calith didn't just want to protect his legacy, he wanted to prepare you. For what? Ethan asked again, more firmly this time. Sari turned to him. For the shroud. The name chilled him, even without understanding it. What is that? Another alien race? No, Narela said. It's worse than a race. It's a force. Sari took a slow breath. A galactic anomaly that moves across systems like rot. Not a creature, not a machine. A consciousness without form. It feeds on collapse of civilizations, of minds, of memory. It erases, Narala said, planets, cultures, time itself. Ethan gripped the wheel tighter. And Earth is on its path. Sari nodded. Yes, but it's not here yet. And Calith believed your species could stop it, if given the right knowledge. Which is in the core, Ethan said. Exactly. An hour later, the signal on Sari's wrist flickered red. "We're close," she said. "But so are they." "Define they," Ethan muttered. "Nera." La leaned out the passenger window. "Look left." Ethan did a silver needle. Objects zipped across the sky and curved down toward them like a hawk diving for prey. "Another drone?" he asked. "No, sorry," said. "This one's manned. Alien or human." She hesitated. "Unclear. But it's not coming to negotiate." The object fired a pulse that exploded ahead of them, creating a small crater in the road. Ethan swerved violently, tires screeching. "We're not going to make it like this," he shouted. Narala reached into the glove box and yanked out a black orb Caleth had left behind in the vault. "Time to use the gift." "What does it do?" Ethan asked. Narala smiled grimly. "Hold on." She slammed the orb against the dashboard. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the jeep disappeared. Or at least, it disappeared from the outside world. From within, Ethan could still see the road, the sky, the hovering drone now flying in confused circles. But their vehicle now shimmered like heat rising from pavement, like a ghost riding the desert. "We're cloaked?" Ethan asked. "Temporarily," Narala said. "The orb bends local perception, but it won't last long." The drones zipped off, no longer tracking them. Ethan exhaled. "That's the first good news I've had in 2 days." "Don't celebrate yet," Sari said. "The core is near, but we don't know what's guarding it." The final stretch took them into a dry basin surrounded by jagged red rocks. A dried-out riverbed curved around the base of a small mesa. There, Sari pointed, built into the rock face was a door, smooth, circular, black, like obsidian. Alien runes shimmered faintly on its surface. Ethan parked and stepped out, shielding his eyes from the sun. "So that's it?" "Yes," Sari said, already moving forward. "The core of continuation." Narala followed, but Ethan paused. Something was off. The air felt too still. The silence was pressurized, like before a storm, or a trap. He jogged to catch up with them. Sari reached out to the door. Her hand hovered over a panel. Symbols began to glow. Then, suddenly, access denied. "What?" she gasped. "No, this should have recognized me." A new voice echoed from the ridge above them, because it already recognized someone else. They turned. A figure stood above them, human, dressed in dark military fatigues, eyes hidden behind reflective shades. Several black-clad soldiers emerged behind him, weapons drawn but not raised. Ethan stepped forward. "Who are you?" The man smirked. "The ones cleaning up Caleth's mess." Narela's eyes narrowed. "Government." "Not exactly," the man said. "But let's just say we've been watching this planet's inheritance problem for a long time." He pulled out a small device and pressed a button. The core's door hissed open behind him, and he stepped inside. The hidden truth: the core's obsidian doors slid open with a mechanical hiss, revealing a corridor pulsing with soft, blue light. The mysterious man disappeared inside without looking back, his armed squad following closely. Ethan stood frozen. His heart pounded with 100 questions. "Who are they?" he muttered. "Not standard military," Sari said, her voice low. "Their uniforms don't match any Earth faction Caleth tracked." Narala spat into the dust. "Mercs, Black Ops. Probably a splinter group working under shadow protocols, not bound by law or conscience." Ethan glanced at the door. "If they can open the core, doesn't that mean they had access codes?" "They didn't open it," Sari replied. "They hijacked it. Caleth built safeguards. Whoever that man is, he found a way around them." "Then why wait for us?" Ethan asked. "To see who followed," Narala said. "Or maybe, to use you as a key." They moved cautiously into the core. The interior was vast, like walking inside a cathedral carved from starlight. Arched walls of dark glass shimmered with embedded constellations. Strange symbols hovered mid-air like holographic jellyfish, each rotating slowly in a language Ethan didn't recognize, though some of them looked oddly familiar. They followed the sound of echoing boots until they reached a central chamber. The mercenary leader was there, standing before a giant, egg-shaped structure of obsidian glass, suspended by beams of glowing metal. Around it, alien conduits hummed with quiet power. He turned to face them. "I'm not your enemy," he said calmly. Narela raised her hand, and a small plasma arc lit between her fingers. "Funny, you brought guns." The man raised his palms. "Just in case. You wouldn't believe how unpredictable first contact legacies can get." Ethan stepped forward. "What is this place?" The man gestured round. This is Caleth's True legacy, not the vault, not the wives. This is the archive, a neural archive containing hundreds of civilizations preserved, documented, waiting to be passed on. Ethan blinked. Why me? Because Caleth believed your species could handle the burden. Man looked him over, eyes unreadable behind those mirrored lenses. I didn't believe that. Still don't. But it's not up to me anymore. Sorry, stepped forward slowly. You said you weren't our enemy. Then why did you erase the vault? Why the threats? The man didn't flinch. Because others are coming. Real enemies. And if they get what's in this core, Earth dies. Ethan crossed his arms. Start making sense. The man sighed and walked over to a wall-mounted console. With a flick of his wrist, a holographic projection filled the room. It showed a massive, black wave sweeping across stars. Entire systems vanished in its wake, one by one gone. The shroud, he said. It's not myth, it's real. And it's already eaten 5 civilizations older than anything your kind has dreamed of. The projection zoomed in star paths, velocity markers. It was heading toward Earth. Estimated arrival, 14 Earth months. The man continued. Caleth didn't just come to warn you. He came to prepare you. He knew this planet wasn't ready. So he left his knowledge, his companions, and a defense key. Ethan frowned. Defense key. The man nodded. The egg structure pulsed suddenly, lights crawling along its surface. He's waking it. Sorry, whispered. Not just waking it. The man replied. Binding it. It's linked to your biometrics, Ethan. Your neural patterns. That's why Caleth chose you not for your intellect, but your humanity. He believed only a being of Earth, with both logic and emotion, could carry the imprint. Scowled. You shouldn't be tampering with this. The man didn't even blink. Neither should you. But we don't have time to argue about ownership. He turned to Ethan. You need to enter the archive. Complete the bonding process. Once it's linked, you'll unlock the last sequencer, full-scale activation of the planetary alert beacon. It will mark Earth as a developed world in interstellar records. And that helps us how? Ethan asked. It tells the galaxy, we're not prey anymore, the man said. That we can defend ourselves, that we matter. Sori nodded slowly. The shroud avoids systems marked by the seal of cognizance. It only feeds on the forgotten, the dismissed. Ethan stared at the pulsing artifact. So what happens if I go in? The man's voice was quiet. One of two things. You survive, and Earth gets a chance. Or you don't. Ethan stepped toward the artifact, heart-pounding dot as he reached out. The structure unfolded like a blooming flower petals of dark glass peeling open to reveal a seat inside. Glowing with soft amber light, he paused, hand inches from it. Before I do this, I want to know the truth. The man tilted his head. Why did Caleth choose me? Sori stepped forward and said softly, because you remembered. Everyone else forgot him, dismissed him, but you never let go of the moment you saw him. Even when no one believed you. Ethan's chest tightened. 100 sleepless nights, 1,000 laughs at his expense. The one moment that changed his life mocked his fantasy. He nodded, eyes burning. Then let's finish this. He sat. The chair closed around him, and the world went silent. Inside the archive, Ethan was weightless. He floated through endless corridors of stars, voices whispering across time. He saw cities floating in oceans of gas, languages formed in ultraviolet light, wars fought in silence between beings made of crystal. Then Caleth's voice, Ethan Vale. My human friend, you believed when others forgot, you remembered me, and now, you must remember all of us. Energy surged through him, light, pain, memory, he screamed. Outside, the core flickered, the petals closed, a beam of golden light shot into the sky, splitting the clouds. Sori and Narala dropped to their knees. The mercenary man stepped back, shielding his eyes. The core dimmed, the artifact sealed shut, and the chamber fell silent. Ethan lay still in the chair, unconscious, but his eyes flickered open. For a moment, they glowed like galaxies. Humanity's testathon gasped as his eyes snapped open. The chair unfolded with a soft hiss, releasing him from its grip. He stumbled out, breath ragged, knees buckling beneath him. Sori caught him before he hit the floor, her arms steady and warm. You survived, she whispered in awe. You actually did it. I saw ... Ethan's voice cracked. I saw everything. Thousands of civilizations, whole empires, gone. I felt them die. The shroud, it doesn't just destroy ... It erases. Memories, culture, identity gone, like they never existed. Narala approached cautiously. And what else did you see? Ethan looked up, eyes glowing faintly with residual light. Instructions, schematics, Calith's contingency plans. He built more than a warning. He left a defense system away to signal Earth's awareness to the stars. The mercenary leader stepped forward, nodding slightly. Then it's true. The beacon exists. Ethan turned to him, jaw clenched. You knew all along, didn't you? That this wasn't just about alien relics or vaults. You wanted to force the activation. The man didn't deny it. We've been watching the skies for decades, Ethan, and we knew something was coming, but we never had proof. Not until Calith's signal reached deep space stations last month. That's when we traced it back to you. Ethan narrowed his eyes. You destroyed the first vault. To delay detection, the man said calmly, and to buy us time to intercept any competing factions. We're not the only ones who want what Calith left behind. Narala stepped in front of Ethan protectively. You used him, gambled with his life. The man shrugged. And he won, didn't he? Ethan pulled away from sorry and walked to the center console. We don't have time to argue. The beacon activation isn't automatic. It requires a human neural imprint, but the energy required to launch the signal is astronomical. Calith designed it that way on purpose. To test us. Test us how? Sorry asked. Ethan placed his hand on the console. The power source is unstable. Someone has to manually synchronize the core and initiate a zero-point cascade from within the chamber. Meaning, Narala said sharply, meaning whoever activates it doesn't walk away. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. No, other way, Sorry asked, almost pleading. Ethan shook his head. If I try to override it remotely, the signal won't have enough force to punch through interstellar space. Earth's warning won't be heard. Will be marked as unaware, ripe for consumption. Narala stepped forward. Then I'll do it. Ethan turned quickly. No, I'm faster, stronger. I can survive the initial overload. You're not human, he interrupted. The system won't accept your pattern. It's coded to me. She fell silent, jaw clenched. Sorry stepped beside him. Then we'll find another way. There isn't one. Ethan's voice was soft now, steady. This is why he chose me. Calith believed someone would have to prove humanity was ready, not with words, with action. The mercenary finally spoke again. You really think sacrificing yourself will make a difference? Ethan looked at him, double quotes, no. But I think not trying would prove Calith wrong. And I'm not willing to do that. He stepped onto the platform in front of the beacon, which was now glowing like a living heart. A small control interface extended upward. Ethan placed his palm on it. His name Ethan Vale flashed across the alien screen, followed by a single word, accepted. A countdown appeared, 0 hours, 10 minutes, and 0 seconds, core stabilization imminent behind him. Alarms began to sound throughout the chamber. Outside, the wind howled. The shroud's forward probe just entered solar range. Sorry said quietly, her hand on her temple. It's aware of us now. Then let's show it what being human means, Ethan whispered. As the countdown ticked, Ethan's memories swirled around him, not just what he had seen in the archive, but his own life, the ridicule, the doubt, the lonely nights under the stars, wondering if the truth would ever matter. He thought of Calith, standing tall beneath Montana skies, speaking not with words, but with understanding. He thought of Sorry, whose kindness calmed him, and Narala, whose fire had protected him, of the world still turning, oblivious to the storm on the edge of the galaxy, and he smiled. The moment came. The core flared with golden light. The entire chamber trembled as the beacon began to rise from the heart of the installation, an obelisk of crystal and metal, humming with ancient power. Ethan closed his eyes and pressed the final sequence. Activating beacon, final synchronization engaged. A surge of energy coursed through him. His body lifted slightly off the platform as the power arced through his veins. He screamed this time, not in fear, but in defiance. The light exploded, upward, piercing the ceiling, the sky, and the stratosphere. In orbit, satellites blinked. Deep space probes activated emergency protocols. Across the planet, encrypted stations hidden beneath oceans and mountains detected the impossible. An interstellar beacon had been fired from Earth. A warning, a declaration, a voice from the edge of the void saying, "We are here." When the light faded, Ethan collapsed. The platform powered down. The beacon dimmed. Sari rushed to his side, checking his pulse. Narala followed, her face pale. For a terrifying moment, there was no movement. Then Ethon stirred. His eyes fluttered open. "You didn't die," Sari whispered in shock. "Not yet," he croaked. Narella grinned for the first time in days. "You stubborn idiot." Ethan coughed a laugh. "Takes one to know one." The mercenary stepped forward, genuinely stunned. The signal went out. "We got confirmation from the Antarctic array. It worked." Ethan looked at him. "Good then. Get out there and tell the world we're not alone anymore." The man nodded once, then turned and disappeared into the corridor. Outside the core, the sky was clearer than ever. Blue, wide, eternal. Sari and Narala stood on either side of Ethan, as he stared out across the desert. "What now?" Narala asked. Ethan took a breath. "Now, we prepare. Because the universe heard us. Some will come to help. Some will come to conquer. But either way, we're not hiding anymore." Legacy of Light. The core was quiet now. Its crystalline surface, once lit with alien glyphs and pulsing energy, stood dormant like a heart that had given its final beat. Yet outside, the world had changed. For the first time in recorded human history, Earth had spoken to the stars, and the stars had listened. 3 days had passed since the beacon was activated. Ethan lay in a recovery chamber deep within the core facility, his body wrapped in layers of healing light and quantum band stabilizers left behind by Calith's technology. His vitals were weak, but stable. He'd been unconscious ever since he collapsed after initiating the signal. Sari sat beside him, gently holding his hand. "He shouldn't have survived that," she whispered. "No one ever has." "Because no one else was him," Narala said. From across the room, arms folded. "He didn't do it for power or for legacy," Sari murmured. "He did it because he believed Narala didn't respond." Her eyes stayed locked on Ethan's motionless face. "I watched 1,000 commanders fall to their ego," she finally said. "But he did it with nothing but hope. That's more terrifying than any weapon." Sari smiled. "It's what makes him human." Then Ethan stirred. His eyes opened slowly, the world blurry and brilliant at once. Sari leaned forward, her touch grounding him. "Welcome back," she whispered. "Did it work?" Ethan croaked. "Yes," Narala said. "Your signal reached the edge of the Orion Gate. We picked up responses, first contact acknowledgements. Some friendly, some not yet known." "Earth knows?" he asked. "Not officially," Sari answered. "But several deep observatories have picked up fragments. Governments are scrambling to explain the beacon burst." Ethan nodded, blinking through the dizziness. "Let them scramble. Truth doesn't care if they're ready." He slowly sat up, wincing. "I saw more than just memories in that beacon," he said. "Calith left something else, a message, for all of us." Sari and Narala exchanged glances. "Then you should share it," Sari said gently. Later that day, standing atop the mesa outside the core, Ethan broadcasted Calith's final words using a projection platform, not to the world not yet, but to the people who would protect it. The projection shimmered with soft blue light, and Calith's voice echoed from the stars. "To the species called human, you are not the weakest, though your enemies will say you are. You are not the last, though you think you stand alone. You are not too late. You are exactly on time. What you choose to remember defines you. What you choose to protect shapes you. The shroud is coming not to destroy your world, but to test it. It does not erase the strong, but the forgotten, the passive, the silenced. You have one chance. Be remembered. Stand, not for conquest, but for meaning. Show the universe that Earth does not forget its own, and it will not be forgotten." The message faded. Ethan stood silently. Sari placed a hand on his shoulder. "It's beautiful. It's a warning," he said, "and a gift." In the weeks that followed, things moved fast. The core was sealed again, buried beneath layers of rock and holographic interference. Only a select few knew of its existence. Those who did were sworn to protect it. The mercenary group, unofficially as Section Warden, disbanded quietly, or at least retreated back into the shadows. The leader never returned. Some believed he was reabsorbed into a deeper level of Earth's secret intelligence network. Others whispered he was no longer on Earth at all. Ethan remained near the core with Sari and Narala, working through the massive archive Caliph left behind. And then came the choice. "We can leave," Sari said one night, sitting with Ethan beneath the open sky. There are outposts, human-compatible colonies, Calith chartered for this exact purpose. We could vanish from Earth, live beyond the chaos. Ethan stared at the stars, tempting. Narella sat cross-legged on a rock nearby. You've already done more than anyone expected, but not more than I can do, Ethan said. He stood, brushing dust off his jacket. I'm staying, sorry. Tilted her head. Why? Because someone has to be the voice, Ethan said. Someone has to be the bridge between what Earth was and what it's becoming. He looked at both of them. You said you were Calith's companions, that you were his legacy. They nodded. Then be mine now, Ethan said. Not as property, not as obligation, as partners. Narella smiled faintly. Took you long. Enough. Sorry, laughed, her eyes glowing with warmth. We already were. The three of them stood together as the sun rose over the desert, three figures united not by fate, but by choice. And as the light spread across the land, something shimmered high above them, a fleet. Silent, distant, and watching. But for now, it didn't approach. Earth had been marked, known. And in the heart of a hidden canyon, beneath the sands and beneath the stars, humanity's voice had been carved into the fabric of the galaxy. Not in war. Not in conquest, but in the most powerful declaration of all. We remember, we endure, we matter. The end.